The sky turned red on a Tuesday morning. General Park Tae-woo was drinking his coffee when the first reports came in. Strange lights in the sky. Ships that moved faster than anything humans had ever built. He put down his cup and walked to the window of his office in Seoul. What he saw made his blood run cold. Massive ships hung in the air like dark clouds. They were black and silver, shaped like giant insects. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They blocked out the sun and cast shadows over the entire city. The radio crackled with panicked voices. New York was under attack. London was burning. Tokyo had gone silent. Beijing was calling for help. Every major city on Earth was being hit at the same time. Tae-woo had been a soldier for 30 years. He had seen war. He had seen death. But he had never seen anything like this. The alien ships opened fire. Beams of blue light shot down from the sky. They hit buildings and turned them to dust. They hit cars and melted them into nothing. They hit people, and those people simply disappeared. The sound was terrible. It was like thunder that never stopped. Tae-woo grabbed his radio. All units, this is General Park. Engage the enemy. Protect the civilians. Fight with everything you have. But what could they fight with? Their missiles flew up and exploded against invisible shields. Their jets were shot down before they could even get close. Their tanks fired and the shells bounced off the alien ships like rain off a window. The attack lasted 12 hours. When it was over, Seoul was gone. Half of it. Anyway. The beautiful city that Tae-woo had grown up in was now a field of broken concrete and twisted metal. Fires burned everywhere. The air smelled like smoke and something else. Something chemical and wrong. Tae-woo walked through the ruins. His uniform was torn and covered in dust. His face was cut and bleeding. But he was alive. Somehow, he was alive. He found survivors hiding in subway tunnels. Old people, children, families who had lost everything. They looked at him with empty eyes. They had seen too much. They had lost too much. A young woman named Yoon Hana approached him. She was wearing a military uniform, but it was burned and dirty. Her left arm was wrapped in bloody bandages. Despite her injuries, her eyes were sharp and angry. "General," she said, "what do we do now?" Tae-woo looked at her. He looked at the survivors. He looked at the burning city around them. "We survive," he said. "And then we fight back." The aliens called themselves the Vorak. Humanity learned this when they broadcast a message to every screen on Earth. Their leader appeared on televisions, phones, and computers everywhere. He was tall and thin, with gray skin and 4 eyes. He spoke in a voice that sounded like rocks grinding together. "People of Earth," he said, "your planet now belongs to the Vorak Empire. You will serve us. You will obey us. Resistance is foolish. Your weapons cannot hurt us. Your armies are destroyed. Accept your place as servants of the Empire." The transmission ended. In the ruins of Seoul, Tae-woo watched the message with his jaw tight. Around him, survivors wept. Some screamed in anger. Others sat in silence, broken by what they had seen. But Tae-woo did not weep. He did not scream. He simply watched. And when the message ended, he turned to Hana. "Find everyone who can still fight," he said. "Find every scientist who survived. Find every engineer, every soldier, every person with the will to resist." "What are we going to do?" Hana asked. "We are going to learn," Tae-woo said. "We are going to study them. We are going to find their weaknesses. And when we are ready, we are going to make them pay for what they did today." The Vorak ships left after the attack. They had broken humanity's military power in a single day. They had killed 3 billion people. They had burned cities and destroyed governments. They believed Earth was finished. They left behind small garrisons to control the population, a few thousand soldiers on each continent, enough to maintain order among a broken species. But they made a mistake. They did not kill everyone. They did not hunt down every soldier. They did not find every bunker, every hidden base, every secret facility. They thought humans were weak. They thought humans would give up. In the weeks after the attack, survivors gathered in underground shelters. They shared food and water. They treated the wounded. They buried the dead, and they began to plan. Tae-woo set up his headquarters in an old military bunker beneath the mountains. It was designed to survive a nuclear war. Now it would help humanity survive an alien invasion. Hana became his second in command. She was young, only 32 years old, but she was smart and brave. She had lost her entire family in the attack. Her parents, her brother, her young niece, who was only 6 years old. The pain made her strong. The anger made her dangerous. A scientist named Baek Sok joined them. He was a thin man with glasses and gentle eyes. Before the invasion, he had worked on aerospace technology. Now, he studied the wreckage of Vorak weapons and vehicles. Their technology is advanced, he told Tae-woo one night. But it is not magic. It follows rules. Physics still applies. We can learn how it works. Can we copy it? Tae-woo asked. Sok smiled for the first time since the invasion. Give me time. Give me resources. And yes, I believe we can. Across the world, other groups formed. In the mountains of Switzerland, in the deserts of Australia, in the forests of Brazil, humans who refused to surrender, humans who remembered what had been taken from them. They communicated in secret. They shared information. They pooled their resources. The Vorak Empire had conquered hundreds of worlds. They had crushed dozens of species. They had never faced a species that fought back after being defeated. They did not understand humans. Tae-woo stood at the entrance of his bunker one night. He looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there was the Vorak homeworld. Somewhere out there were the creatures who had killed his people. He made a promise to himself. A promise to the dead. A promise to the survivors. You hit us first, he whispered to the stars. You started this war. But we will finish it. We will find you. And we will make you understand what it means to make an enemy of Earth. The fall was over. The rise was about to begin. 5 years passed. The world above the bunkers changed. The Vorak built towers in every major city. They put humans to work in factories and mines. They took what they wanted and killed anyone who complained. To them, Earth was just another conquered world, just another source of slaves and resources. But beneath the surface, something was growing. General Park Tae-woo stood in a cavern deep under the mountains of Korea. The cavern was enormous. It stretched for kilometers in every direction, and it was filled with machines, computers, and people working day and night. This was not just a hiding place anymore. This was a factory, a laboratory, a training ground. This was where humanity was preparing for war. Commander Yoon Hana walked up to him. She had changed in 5 years. The young woman with the burned uniform was gone. In her place stood a hardened warrior. Her body was covered in scars. Her eyes were cold and calculating. But when she smiled, there was still fire in her. Production is ahead of schedule, she reported. We will have 50 ships ready within the year. Tae-woo nodded. What about weapons? Sok's team finished the new plasma rifles last month. They work even better than the Vorak versions. Our soldiers are training with them now. This was the miracle that had saved humanity. The Vorak had left behind wreckage when they attacked. Crashed ships, damaged weapons, dead soldiers in their alien armor. And humans had collected every piece. Baek Sok had spent 5 years taking apart Vorak technology and learning its secrets. He had started with nothing but broken machines and a dream. Now he had given humanity weapons that could hurt the enemy. Tae-woo walked through the cavern. He passed rows of workers building ships. He passed scientists testing new weapons. He passed soldiers training for battle. Everyone he saw had the same look in their eyes: determination, anger, hope. A young engineer named Kang Jisoo stopped him. She was small and quiet, but her mind was brilliant. She had designed the engines that would power humanity's new fleet. General, she said, I want to show you something. She led him to a platform overlooking a massive construction bay. Below them sat the largest ship Tae-woo had ever seen. It was sleek and dark, built for speed and destruction. Weapons covered every surface. "The Vengeance," Jisoo said proudly. "Our first battleship. It is not as big as the Vorak capital ships, but it is faster. And our weapons hit harder." Scene gone. Tae-woo studied the ship. 5 years ago, they had nothing. Now, they had this. "How many crew?" he asked. 2,000. "Captain Oh Yuna will command it." Tae-woo knew Yuna well. She had been a naval officer before the invasion. She had lost her husband and 2 children in the attack on Tokyo. She had been one of the first to join the resistance. Now she would lead humanity's first strike against the stars. That night, Tae-woo called a meeting of all the resistance leaders from around the world. They appeared on screens in his command center. Faces from every continent, different languages, different cultures, but united by a common goal. 5 years ago we were broken, Tae-woo said. The Vorak thought they had destroyed us. They thought we would become their slaves forever. They were wrong. He pressed a button, and images appeared on every screen. Ships, weapons, soldiers in armor that looked almost alien. "We have built a fleet of 50 warships. We have equipped an army of 200,000 soldiers. We have weapons that can penetrate Vorak shields. We have fighters that can match their speed. We are ready." A woman from the European resistance spoke up. Her name was Anna, and she led the fighters hiding in the Alps. "Ready for what exactly?" she asked. "The Vorak have thousands of ships. They have conquered dozens of worlds. Even with our new technology, we cannot match their numbers." Tae-woo smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator. "We do not need to match their numbers," he said. "We need to hurt them. We need to show them that attacking Earth was a mistake. We need to make them afraid." Hana stepped forward. "Our intelligence says the Vorak have a colony world called Verath. It is 3 light-years from Earth. They use it as a mining operation. 10 million Vorak live there. We are going to attack it," Tae-woo said. "We are going to destroy their mines. We are going to burn their cities. And we are going to send a message to their empire." The room was silent. Then, one by one, the resistance leaders nodded. They understood. This was not about winning a war in a single battle. This was about making a statement. This was about revenge. Seok entered the command center with a tablet in his hands. His hair had turned gray in the past 5 years. His eyes were tired. But his voice was excited. "I have finished it," he said. "The weapon you asked for." He handed the tablet to Tae-woo. On the screen was a design for a bomb. It was small, no bigger than a car. But according to the numbers, it could destroy a city. "I call it the Earth's memory," Seok said. "One bomb killed their emperor's father during the war they had with another species. They fear weapons like this. They fear the power to destroy entire cities in an instant." Tae-woo looked at the design. Then he looked at Seok. "Build 10 of them," he said. The preparations took another 6 months. Ships were tested, crews were trained, weapons were loaded, medicine was stockpiled. Captain Oh Yuna stood on the bridge of the Vengeance. She was a tall woman with short black hair and eyes that had seen too much pain. Behind her, 2,000 crew members worked at their stations. She looked at the main screen. It showed the stars beyond Earth's solar system. Somewhere out there was the Vorak Empire. Somewhere out there were the creatures who had taken everything from her. Her hands tightened on the railing. "For my children," she whispered. "For everyone we lost." The day of departure came on a cold winter morning. 50 ships rose from hidden bases around the world. They flew up through the atmosphere, past the Vorak watchtowers that did not even notice them. Human technology had advanced beyond what the aliens expected. The ships gathered in orbit around the moon. From there, they could see Earth, blue and green and beautiful, even after all the damage. Worth fighting for. Worth dying for. Tae-woo's voice came over every speaker. 5 years ago, we lost everything. Our cities, our families, our hope. The Vorak thought they had broken us. They thought we would never fight back. Today, we prove them wrong. Today, we take the first step on a long road. The road to revenge. The road to freedom. The road to the Vorak homeworld itself. He paused. When he spoke again, his voice was hard as steel. Remember what they took from you. Remember the fire and the death and the screams. And when you face them in battle, show no mercy. They gave us none. We will give them none. The fleet activated their engines. One by one, the ships jumped into faster-than-light travel. They disappeared in flashes of blue light, leaving Earth behind. The reckoning had begun. The planet Varath appeared on the screens like a gray marble floating in space. Captain Yuna stood on the bridge of the Vengeance and studied it carefully. It was not a beautiful world. No oceans, no forests, just rocks and dust and the scars of mining operations. The Vorak had stripped this planet bare. They had taken everything of value and left nothing but waste. 10 million Vorak lived here. Miners, engineers, their families. They had never seen war. They had never faced an enemy. They thought they were safe, protected by the might of their empire. They were wrong. All ships report ready, Commander Li Day said from his station. He was a big man with a scarred face and hands that had killed many times. Before the invasion, he had been a special forces soldier. Now he was Yuna's second in command. Yuna looked at the tactical display. 50 human ships surrounded the planet. On the surface below, only a small defense force protected the colony. A few hundred soldiers. Some anti-aircraft guns. Nothing that could stop what was coming. This is Captain O to all ships, Yuna said. Remember your training. Remember why we are here. Today, we show the Vorak that humanity is not dead. Today, we draw first blood. She took a deep breath. Begin the attack. The human fleet moved like wolves hunting sheep. They came from every direction at once. Their weapons fired in perfect coordination. Blue plasma beams and silver missiles streaked toward the planet. The Vorak defenses tried to respond. Their guns fired into the sky. Their shields activated. Their soldiers ran to their stations. But they were too slow. Too surprised. They had never expected an attack. They had never imagined that the primitive humans could reach them here. The first wave of missiles hit the shield generators. Explosions lit up the gray surface. The shields flickered and died. The second wave hit the military bases. Buildings collapsed. Vehicles exploded. Vorak soldiers died without ever seeing their enemy. Then the human landing craft descended. Commander Hana led the ground assault. She stood at the front of her transport as it screamed through the atmosphere. Around her were 200 soldiers in black armor. They carried plasma rifles built from stolen Vorak technology. They carried grenades that could melt through walls. They carried 5 years of rage in their hearts. The transport landed hard in the middle of a Vorak city. The doors opened and Hana was the first one out. What she saw made her smile grimly. Chaos. Vorak running in every direction. Buildings on fire. Smoke filling the sky. This was exactly what Seoul had looked like 5 years ago. But this time, the Vorak were the victims. Move out, she ordered. Secure the command center. Kill anyone who fights back. Her soldiers spread through the streets like shadows. They moved from building to building, room to room. The Vorak tried to fight. They picked up weapons and fired at the invaders. But human soldiers had trained for this moment for years. They were faster, smarter, deadlier. Hana kicked down a door and found 3 Vorak hiding inside. They raised their hands in surrender. Their 4 eyes were wide with fear. For a moment, she remembered her family. Her parents burning alive in their apartment. Her brother shot down in the street. Her niece, only 6 years old, crushed under a falling building. She raised her rifle, then she lowered it. Take them prisoner, she told her soldiers. We are not like them. We do not kill those who surrender. It was the hardest decision she had ever made. But it was the right one. Above the planet, Captain Yuna directed the battle from the Vengeance. The Vorak had managed to launch a few ships to defend their world. Old cargo vessels and mining craft, barely armed. They were no match for human warships. Enemy vessel approaching from Sector 7, Day reported. Destroy it, Yuna said calmly. The Vengeance's main guns turned and fired. A beam of concentrated plasma crossed the void of space. It hit the Vorak ship and cut it in half. Bodies and debris spilled into the vacuum. Yuna watched without emotion. She had lost the ability to feel pity for the Vorak long ago. They had killed her children, her husband, everyone she loved. Today was justice. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Vorak colony was in human hands. Their military was destroyed. Their leaders were captured. Their people were prisoners in their own cities. Human casualties were light, 43 dead, 200 wounded. Against 10 million Vorak, it was almost nothing. Hana stood in the ruins of the Vorak command center. Screens around her showed images of human soldiers patrolling the streets. The gray sky was full of smoke from burning buildings. A communication officer approached her. "Commander, we have captured the colony governor. What should we do with him?" Hana thought for a moment. "Bring him to me." The governor was an old Vorak, with gray-blue skin and cloudy eyes. He wore expensive robes now stained with dirt and blood. When he saw Hana, he tried to stand tall and proud. "You will pay for this," he said. His voice was weak but angry. "The Empire will send 1,000 ships. They will burn your pathetic planet to ashes." They already did that," Hana interrupted. 5 years ago. They killed 3 billion of our people. They destroyed our cities. They thought we would give up and die." She stepped closer to the governor. "We did not give up. We did not die. We rebuilt. We learned. And now we are here." The governor's 4 eyes blinked in confusion. "What do you want? Resources? Technology? We can negotiate. The Empire can be generous to those who—" "We do not want your resources," Hana said. "We do not want your technology. We already took what we needed." "Then what?" Hana smiled. It was not a kind smile. "We want you to send a message to your emperor. Tell him what happened here. Tell him that humans did this. Tell him that this is just the beginning." She leaned in close. "Tell him we are coming for him." The human fleet stayed on Verath for 3 days. They destroyed the mining equipment. They burned the military supplies. They recorded everything and sent it back to Earth, where billions of humans watched, with tears of joy. For the first time since the invasion, there was hope. On the 3rd day, the fleet prepared to leave. They took Vorak prisoners with them. Not for revenge, but for information. Humans needed to learn more about their enemy. They needed maps of the Empire. They needed to know the location of the homeworld. Captain Yuna stood on her bridge as the fleet jumped back into faster-than-light travel. Behind them, Verath burned. Its mines were destroyed. Its cities were in ruins. Its people were traumatized. Now the Vorak knew what humans had felt 5 years ago. Yuna looked at the stars streaming past on her screen. "This is just the beginning," she said quietly. "We have a long way to go." Commander Day nodded beside her. "Do you think they will come for Earth now? Try to finish what they started?" Yuna considered the question. "Maybe. Probably. But it does not matter. We are not the same species they attacked 5 years ago. We are stronger now. Smarter. We have weapons that can hurt them." She turned to face her crew. "Let them come. We will be ready." The fleet arrived back at Earth a week later. They were greeted as heroes. Crowds gathered beneath the hidden bases, cheering for the soldiers who had struck back at the oppressors. General Tae-woo met Captain Yuna on the landing platform. He shook her hand firmly. "You did well," he said. "The whole world is talking about Verath. The Vorak will never look at humans the same way again." Yuna nodded. "It was a good start, but we both know this war is far from over." "No," Tae-woo agreed. "It is not. But for the first time in 5 years, We are fighting back. And we will keep fighting until every last Vorak knows the price of attacking Earth. He looked up at the stars. First blood has been drawn. Now we go for the throat. The Vorak Emperor sat on his throne and raged. His name was Vorath VII, and he had ruled the empire for 200 years. He had conquered 12 worlds. He had crushed rebellions without mercy. He had never, in all his long life, been so humiliated. Around him, his advisors trembled. The throne room was vast and dark, filled with shadows and fear. No one wanted to speak. No one wanted to be the target of the emperor's anger. "How is this possible?" Vorath screamed. "How did primitive apes cross the stars and attack our colony? How did they destroy our defenses? How did they kill 10,000 of my soldiers?" An advisor named Korath stepped forward. He was old and thin, with gray skin and 4 eyes that had seen many terrible things. "My emperor," he said carefully, "we underestimated the humans. When we conquered their world, we believed they would submit like all the others. We did not think they could." "You did not think," Vorath roared. "That is the problem. I trusted you to manage that planet. I trusted you to keep the humans under control. And now they have ships. They have weapons. They are attacking our colonies." He stood from his throne. He was massive, nearly 3 meters tall, with muscles built from centuries of genetic enhancement. He looked down at Korath with pure hatred. "You will fix this," he said. "You will send a fleet to Earth. You will burn every human alive. You will end this rebellion before it spreads." Korath bowed deeply. "It will be done, my emperor." But before he could leave, alarms began to sound throughout the palace. Guards rushed in, their weapons drawn. Officers shouted into communicators. The massive screens on the walls flickered and changed, showing images of space around the homeworld. Ships, human ships. 30 of them, appearing out of faster-than-light travel. They surrounded the planet in a perfect formation. Emperor Vorath stared at the screens in disbelief. "Impossible," he whispered. "The homeworld's location is secret. How did they find us?" No one answered. No one could answer. The unthinkable was happening. On the bridge of the lead human ship, General Park Tae-woo stood with his hands behind his back. He looked at the Vorak homeworld on his screen. A massive planet covered in cities and lights, the heart of an empire that spanned dozens of systems. And it was completely surrounded by his fleet. "Open a communication channel," he ordered. "All frequencies. I want every Vorak on that planet to see this." His communication officer worked quickly. Seconds later, a green light indicated that the channel was open. Tae-woo straightened his uniform. He had waited 5 years for this moment. 5 years of building. 5 years of planning. 5 years of dreaming about looking into the Emperor's eyes and delivering this message. "Emperor Vorath," he said, his voice calm and cold. "My name is General Park Tae-woo, of the Human Resistance. 5 years ago, your forces attacked my world without warning. You killed 3 billion innocent people. You burned our cities. You tried to turn us into slaves." He paused, letting the words sink in. "You failed." On the homeworld, Emperor Vorath watched the transmission with growing horror. The human general's face filled every screen in the palace, every screen on the planet. His subjects were seeing this. His enemies were seeing this. The whole empire would learn of this humiliation. "Today," Tae-woo continued, "my fleet surrounds your homeworld, 30 ships carrying weapons that can level your cities. We came here in secret. We bypassed your defenses. Your mighty empire, which has conquered so many worlds, could not even protect its own capital." He leaned forward, his eyes burning with intensity. "I want you to understand something, Vorath. This is not a negotiation. This is not a request for peace. This is a warning." In the throne room, advisors whispered frantically. Military commanders called for ships to intercept the humans. But there was no time. The human fleet was already in position. Any attack would result in bombardment of the homeworld. "You hit Earth first," Tae-woo said, his voice rising. "You started this war. You killed our families, our children, our friends. You thought we would break. You thought we would surrender. You thought wrong. He stood tall. Now we are coming for you. The screen changed to show tactical data. Fleet movements. Attack plans. Targets throughout the Vorak Empire. Varath was just the beginning. We have identified 17 more colony worlds. Mining operations. Military bases. Supply lines. All vulnerable. All within our reach. Admiral Cho Dae appeared on the screen beside Tae Woo. The scarred warrior smiled grimly. We have spent 5 years learning your weaknesses, Dae said. Your shield frequencies. Your communication codes. Your supply routes. You gave us everything we needed when you attacked our world and left behind your technology. Tae Woo stepped forward again. You have a choice, Vorath. You can continue this war. You can send your fleets against Earth. You can try to destroy us. But for every human you kill, we will destroy one of your worlds. For every city you burn, we will burn 10 of yours. We have weapons that can crack planets. We have soldiers who have nothing left to lose. He let that sink in. Or you can end this. You can withdraw your forces from Earth. You can release our people. You can sign a treaty recognizing human independence. And then you can pray that we are satisfied with that. Emperor Vorath finally found his voice. His image appeared on a separate screen, transmitted back to the human ships. You dare threaten me, he roared. You are insects. Your species is barely civilized. The Vorak Empire has existed for 10,000 years. We have conquered races far more powerful than you. We will crush you like the vermin you are. Tae Woo was not impressed. Your empire has never faced an enemy like us, he said calmly. You conquer through fear. You bully weaker species into submission. But humans do not submit. Humans do not give up. When you push us, we push back harder. He gestured to someone off-screen. A moment later, a new image appeared. A bomb. The Earth's memory. This weapon is currently aboard my ship, Tae Woo said. It can destroy your capital city in seconds. We have 10 more ready to deploy. Each one is aimed at a different target on your homeworld. The throne room went silent. I am not bluffing, Vorath. I have lost too much to bluff. My daughter died in the attack on Seoul. She was 8 years old. Her name was Yareen. She wanted to be a doctor when she grew up. Tae Woo's voice cracked slightly, but he continued. Every human in my fleet has a story like that. Every soldier, every pilot, every engineer. We all lost someone. We all have a reason to watch your world burn. He took a deep breath. But we are not monsters like you. We came here to deliver a warning, not to destroy you. Not yet, anyway. So, listen carefully. He pointed directly at the screen. Leave Earth. Release our people. Sign the treaty. Do this within 30 days. And we will withdraw. We will even return your prisoners from Varath. And if I refuse? Vorath asked, his voice trembling with rage. Then the next time we come, we will not stop at your orbit. We will land on your world. We will march through your streets, and we will drag you from that throne and show the galaxy what happens to those who attack humanity. Tae Woo stepped back. You have 30 days. Use them wisely. The transmission ended. In the throne room, Emperor Vorath stood frozen. His advisors watched him nervously. His guards waited for orders. But the Emperor said nothing. For the first time in 200 years, he was afraid. The human fleet remained in orbit for 6 hours. They made no aggressive moves. They simply waited, watching, letting their presence speak louder than any weapon. Then, one by one, they jumped away, disappearing into faster-than-light travel. On Earth, billions watched the recording of Tae Woo's speech. They cheered. They cried. They hugged each other in the streets. Hope had returned. General Tae Woo sat alone in his quarters after the fleet returned home. He looked at a photograph on his desk. A little girl with bright eyes and a bigger smile. His daughter. His Yaren. I did not forget you, he whispered. I will never forget. He placed the photograph gently back on the desk, and they will never forget what they did to us. The 30 days passed. Emperor Vorath did not surrender. He did not sign any treaty. Instead, he sent his largest fleet toward Earth. 2,000 warships carrying millions of soldiers. He believed that overwhelming force would crush the human rebellion once and for all. He was wrong. General Park Tae-woo received word of the approaching fleet while standing in his command center. Screens around him showed the massive armada crossing the stars. It was bigger than anything humanity had ever faced. Commander Hana stood beside him. They refused the terms. I expected they would, Tae-woo said calmly. The Emperor is too proud to accept defeat. He would rather lose everything than admit a lesser species beat him. Then we proceed with the plan? Tae-woo nodded. Activate the defense grid, launch all available ships, and send the signal to our allies. Allies. That word would have seemed impossible 5 years ago. But in the months since the attack on Varath, things had changed. Other species had seen what humans could do. Other slaves of the Vorak Empire had found their courage. The Kelith, a race of tall insectoids, had sent 100 ships to support humanity. The Mora, small but brilliant engineers, had shared their shield technology. Even the ancient Venthir, who had been conquered centuries ago, sent warriors to fight. The galaxy was watching, and it was starting to believe that the Vorak could be beaten. The battle for Earth began on a clear morning. The Vorak fleet arrived in a wave of light and thunder. 2,000 ships filled the space around the planet. They were massive and dark, bristling with weapons. They looked unstoppable, but waiting for them was something they did not expect. 300 human ships flew in formation around Earth. Mixed among them were allied vessels from a dozen species. Behind them, weapons, platforms, and defense satellites formed an unbreakable line. Captain O. Yuna commanded the defense fleet from the Bridge of the Vengeance. She had faced the Vorak before. She had beaten them before. She was not afraid. All ships, this is Captain O, she said calmly. They outnumber us nearly 5 to 1. They think that matters. Let us show them how wrong they are. The two fleets crashed together. Space lit up with weapons fire. Plasma beams crossed in every direction. Missiles streaked between ships like angry wasps. Explosions bloomed and faded in the vacuum. The Vorak had numbers. But humans had something better. They had technology stolen and improved. They had tactics developed over years of secret training. They had allies who knew the Vorak's weaknesses, and they had rage. Human ships moved in perfect coordination. They targeted shield generators, then weapons, then engines. They worked in groups, overwhelming larger Vorak vessels with precision attacks. They did not waste a single shot. The Allied ships fought just as hard. The Kelith were fearless, flying directly into enemy formations and causing chaos. The Mora ships provided support, repairing damaged vessels and jamming enemy communications. The Venthir warriors fought like demons, seeking revenge for centuries of oppression. Commander Hana led a strike force of 50 ships directly at the Vorak flagship. It was the largest vessel in the enemy fleet, carrying the admiral who commanded the invasion. Focus fire on their main shields, she ordered. Bring them down. Her ships attacked in waves. They hit the flagship again and again, wearing down its defenses. Vorak escort ships tried to intercept, but human fighters kept them busy. Finally, the shields collapsed. Fire the main guns, Hana commanded. A dozen plasma beams hit the flagship at once. They tore through its hull like knives through paper. The massive ship broke apart, spilling debris and bodies into space. Across the fleet, Vorak morale shattered. They had never lost a flagship in battle. They had never faced enemies who could hurt them this badly. Panic spread through their ranks. Ships began to retreat. Commanders abandoned their posts. The mighty invasion fleet, which had come to crush humanity, fell apart in hours. By sunset on Earth, it was over. Of 2,000 Vorak ships, less than 300 escaped. The rest were destroyed or captured. Human losses were heavy. Nearly half the defense fleet was damaged or destroyed. But they had won. They had won. General Tae-woo stood on the deck of a captured Vorak cruiser and looked at the wreckage floating in space around Earth. Bodies drifted among the debris. Fires burned on damaged ships. It was a scene of terrible destruction, but it was also victory. Hana joined him, her armor scorched and cracked from combat. She had fought on the front lines herself. refusing to command from safety. "The Emperor's fleet is destroyed," she reported. "Their invasion has failed. And the homeworld?" Admiral Cho reports his forces in position. "They are waiting for your order." Tae-woo closed his eyes. He thought about everything that had happened. The attack on Earth. The years of hiding. The pain and loss and anger. And now this moment. "Give the order," he said. "Begin the assault." The Vorak homeworld fell in 3 days. Without their main fleet, the Emperor had nothing left to defend his throne. Human ships and their allies surrounded the planet and began systematic bombardment of military targets. Ground forces landed in the capital city itself. Admiral Cho Dae led the final assault on the Imperial Palace. His soldiers fought through streets filled with terrified Vorak civilians. They broke through defenses that had stood for thousands of years. They climbed the steps of the throne room itself. Emperor Vorath waited for them on his throne. He was alone now. His advisors had fled. His guards were dead. His empire was crumbling around him. Dae walked toward him slowly, his weapon raised. "It is over," Dae said. "Your fleet is destroyed. Your colonies are falling. Your people are surrendering across the galaxy." Vorath glared at him with all 4 eyes. "You are insects. Vermin. Even if you kill me, the Empire will survive. Others will take my place. We will hunt you to extinction." "No," Dae said. "You will not. Because after today, everyone will know the truth. The Vorak are not invincible. They can be beaten. They can be broken." He stepped closer. "You attacked Earth because you thought we were weak. You thought we would be easy prey. But you woke something in us. Something dangerous. Something that will never stop hunting you until justice is done." Vorath tried to stand, to face his enemy with dignity. But his legs would not hold him. For the first time in 200 years, he felt truly weak. "What will you do with me?" he asked. "You will face trial," Dae said. "For the 3 billion humans you murdered. For the countless other species you enslaved. For every crime your empire has committed. And then you will face judgment." Guards came forward and took the Emperor into custody. He did not resist. He had nothing left to resist with. The galaxy watched as the Vorak throne burned. News spread across 100 worlds. Species who had lived in fear for generations saw the images of human soldiers standing victorious in the Imperial Palace. They saw the Emperor in chains. They saw the impossible become real. And everywhere, hope began to grow. On Earth, General Tae-woo addressed the world from the ruins of Seoul. Around him, work crews were already rebuilding. New buildings rose from the ashes. Life was returning to the city that had been destroyed 5 years ago. "Today, the Vorak Empire has fallen," he said. "Their emperor is our prisoner. Their fleet is destroyed. Their throne is ashes." He looked into the cameras broadcasting his words across the planet. "But our work is not finished. The Vorak still have colonies. They still have soldiers. They will try to rebuild. They will try to strike back." His eyes hardened. "We will not let them." He turned to face Hana, Dae, Yuna, and the other commanders who had fought beside him. They stood tall and proud, scarred but unbroken. "We began this war as victims," Tae-woo said. "We fought back as survivors. Now we will continue as hunters. We will find every Vorak who supported the attack on Earth. We will track down every war criminal. We will chase them to the ends of the galaxy if we have to." He raised his fist. "They hit Earth first. They started this. And we will finish it." Across the galaxy, species who had been slaves began to rise up. They used human tactics, human weapons, human courage. One by one, Vorak-controlled worlds broke free. The empire that had terrorized the stars for 10,000 years was dying. And humanity, the species that had been attacked and nearly destroyed, was leading the charge. General Tae-woo stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the Remembrance. It was named for everyone who had died in the first attack, everyone who had been lost, everyone whose memory drove the survivors forward. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Vorak remnants were hiding. Somewhere out there, enemies were plotting revenge. Somewhere out there, new challenges waited. He was ready for all of them. Set course for the outer colonies, he ordered. We have hunting to do. The Remembrance jumped into faster-than-light travel, leading a fleet of human and allied ships into the unknown. The war was over. But the hunt had just begun. And humanity would never stop. Never forgive. Never forget. They had become something new. Something the galaxy had never seen before. A species forged in fire and loss, hardened by suffering, united by purpose. The universe had tried to break them. Instead, it had only made them stronger.